Welcome, everybody. Now, if you're here, it is likely that you are a parent, entrepreneur, or someone who's working away in your 9 to 5, whether it's a corporate job or whatever that may look like, and you're getting to that point where you're wanting to up-level yourself, make a greater impact, discover your gifts and superpowers, and start to really create more value for the people around you, and start showing up differently in different ways. That might be in a career change, that might be showing up differently to your family. Whatever that looks like, it improves the relationships you have, the engagements you have with individuals. And at the same time, you're probably looking for just, more fulfillment in life, more joy and happiness. Maybe you're looking to make that greater impact and really step out into the world. But I also know that for a lot of us, we are scared to stand out. We're scared that we might be misunderstood as we start to change or start to take these leaps forward in who we are. That we might lose some people close to us because they may not feel seen. And so a lot of times what that looks like is just you're dimming your light. You're dimming what you could be doing. And it's because you're playing small. It's keeping you stuck. And so we want to talk today, specifically for all of you who have the ability to make an impact in so many people's lives, how you can actually start to shine more without any sort of an apology, how you use your gifts and superpowers to impact those around you, because you are the only person with your combination of gifts and superpowers and experiences, which means you are the only person who can make the impact that you can make. And I promise you, there are people waiting for you to start to shine, to find that spark that's in you and really start to rekindle it and start to let it out into the world. I promise you, they're waiting. You just have to start taking those small steps. Now, I know I used to think that hiding some of the different gifts I had, helped me stay safe. That blending, I wanted to blend in a lot of cases. Like in work, I didn't want to stand out. I thought, I was being humble. I was doing it the smart way. That staying small kept me maybe even connected to people. That if I tried to do too much, as I did comedy or say different things out there, that I'd lose people. I'd be judged or I'd just come off as I'm being way too much of a personality. And so I learned to downplay and apologize for my brilliance. And you may have been there before. Do you downplay the wins? Do you minimize your ideas? Do you stay quiet when you know what the answer is? I know I used to shrink myself to just enough to fit in the spaces where I was, people couldn't quite put things on me. They couldn't get a hold of me. They're just all right, he's off doing his own thing. I'd hide away. I told myself I was being kind. I was, without realizing it, dimming my own light, in order to make others feel comfortable around me, when really it was just that I was scared. There was fear, that I'd stand out or be misunderstood, the imposter syndrome, all of those things that play into that. But here's what finally clicked for me, what I realized, and I'm hoping that you start to take from this. Hiding your gifts isn't humble. It's actually, it's selfish, because every time that I know I play small, someone else is missing out. Every time that you play small, someone out there is missing on the impact that you can make. Every time that I hold back, someone who needed what I have went without. My light was dimmed and it didn't protect anybody. It just created more darkness around me because I wasn't getting the chance to connect with other people. And that is absolutely exhausting. If you're feeling burnout, overwhelmed, stress, anxiety, any of those things, it very well could be tied to this sort of an idea of dimming your own light without realizing it. But once again, it's not an exhaustion from doing too much. It's from being too little of myself, from burning the energy every day trying to hide what came naturally to me. And so that's often referred to as misalignment fatigue, where it's that deep, soul level tiredness that comes from living beneath your own, capabilities, while your potential just sits untouched. Most of us don't even recognize we're doing it. We downplay it because things feel so easy to us. So we assume because it's easy for us, it's easy for everyone. But that is an absolute lie. What comes naturally to you is often what others find impossible. And that's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. It's an actual calling to what you could go do to make an impact. So today I want to talk about how you start breaking that pattern and moving past that, breaking past, what others might find impossible. Man, stop dimming yourself, stop dimming your light, and start slowly showing up fully as yourself, as authentic as you can, because your gifts, they're not accidents. They're your assignment. They're the things that you need. When you play small, someone else misses out on the value that only you can deliver. And I promise you, there are people waiting for it. Now, I usually like to do this at the top of the video, totally forgot to, so welcome to the Giver Method channel if you're new here. If you're back for another video, welcome back, of course. My name is Jake, I'm glad you're here. I like to tee up the concept, tee up and teach what I can here in the first few minutes, and then in a little bit, I'm going to invite you to stick around a little bit longer so that you could listen to 4 very specific areas that I think you could start to make an impact in your life right now, meant specifically for parents, entrepreneurs, people who are working 9 to 5, because I know you can't just burn everything down and start from scratch. You can't go move to the woods to find yourself. Like, you got to do the things with where you're at now without loading a ton of things on your plate. So if you only have a few more minutes, then watch for the next few minutes. If you have more than that, like I said, I'd invite you to watch the rest of it. The 4 principled areas we're going to cover are going to unpack a lot for you. Now, let me ask you something. Like, have you caught yourself doing that? What we talked about, like downplaying, your wins, or whatever, because like you didn't want to make anyone else uncomfortable, or maybe you go through like it was nothing. It's nothing. When people compliment something you've done, the work or whatever, you avoid standing out, or maybe you're exhausted because you're spending all this energy staying small, and you just haven't realized it yet. You're hiding your strengths. You're trying not to be too much in rooms, but like because you feel like your full version of you would set people off and make people uncomfortable. As a parent, like maybe you're teaching your kids to play it safe without even realizing it. Do you downplay your own abilities and it shows through? As an entrepreneur, maybe you're afraid to fully own your expertise, so you undercharge. You stay quiet, you keep yourself invisible because you don't want to be risky. Or maybe you're an employee who used to have tons of ideas and energy, but now you stay silent and let others take credit and wonder maybe if you lost a version of yourself along the way. Like, if that feels familiar, I get it, because like I said, I've been there. And the truth is, like, your gifts, they're not random. They are those assignments, and they're like hiding them. It's not doing anything good for you. It just makes you unavailable to the people who need it the most. So playing small doesn't protect relationships. It prevents relationships, because people can't build something real on a version of you that's half hidden. I mean, do you get that? Because like there's research that backs this up. Like, true, authentic self expression is always going to create greater connection, not less. The fear that being too much will push people away, like, that's a myth. It's not real. In reality, it's what draws some people closer to you. And so today, let's walk through these 4 areas, these shifts that you can do to stop dimming your light, uncover patterns that have kept you small, reframe your gifts as these assignments, and build evidence that, gosh, that fear can never come back. Once again, it's just, you got to build this stuff through experience. And once again, we're not trying to create some false sense of confidence or arrogance. It's about stewardship, owning who you are. It's about remembering that your light isn't just for you. It's for the people that are waiting to be illuminated by the light that you have, and you just have to start giving it. Now, if you want to dive deeper into that, like I said, I'm Jake Talbert. I'm the founder, author of this book called The Giver Method. So everything we're talking about today is grounded in my book. And, I wrote it with you in mind. Parents, entrepreneurs, people working. I mean, I've lived that life. I'm a parent of 3. I'm an entrepreneur. I've lived in that sea of cubicles in the corporate world. So everything in here, action items, exercises, stories, everything is grounded in that reality that you can't just burn it all down and start from scratch. I'll put a link in the description, because right now you can get it for as little as $2 on Amazon. It's got a sale going on for the digital version. Physical, I think you can get for like $9 or $10. So the link will be in the description. Get yourself a copy. Buy someone else a copy who needs it, who needs help discovering their gifts and superpowers and creating more impact and value, wants better relationships, that sort of thing. It will change your life. You buy it, you read it, you start working on these things between now and the end of the year, and you will have the best 2026 of your life. I promise you that. So like I said, link in the description, get on Amazon, Jake Talbert, The Giver Method, right? You also go to thegivermethod.com, learn more about us, get some of our free resources. You could follow us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn under The Giver Method handle and such. Some people want personal one-on-one support. So if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, then check out the link in the description about coaching. If you have a team, a podcast, an event, a stage, some sort of a place where you're like, man, this message belongs there, then let's talk about how we can bring it to your people in a very real way. And then before we dive into this stuff any deeper, like I said, I like to give you at least that. We've taught the concept of what this thing is, and we're going to be diving into these 4 principled areas. But before you go, if that's all you can watch, hit subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, like the video, comment what hit home for you. If you're sticking around for the other pieces, then let's get into it, because this might be the moment that you stop apologizing about your light and start realizing that it was never meant to be dimmed in the first place. And so the first area that I want to focus on is like you catch where you go quiet and why. So this is, I call this principle the spot the shrink. Because if we're real with each other, like you can't stop dimming your lights if you don't even notice that you flipped the switch off. Like, as I started saying some of that earlier in the video, you may have been like, oh, I guess maybe that is me. Like, most of us have made being smallness look polite. We deflect compliments, we soft pedal the wins, we're hiding excitement so nobody thinks that we're too much. that we're just putting ourselves out there or anything, and once again, it's whatever we want that to come off as humility or something else. Like, it's a self-protection that's starving your gifts and superpowers and preventing you from making an impact around you. So what we're doing here is simple. We have to name the exact moments where you start to shrink yourself. The person that helps you, that triggers it, the fear that's underneath it, what it costs you. Once again, no shame, just data. Data you could use. Like, once again, the context here is like, there's this thing called, what's it, the reverse Kruger effect or whatever it's called. Someone will correct me on that. If something comes naturally to you, your brain quietly labels it as it's no big deal. The thing that you do so well, it's easy, you lose track of time of, like, it discounts it. Your brain's just designed to do that. And the tendency is to underestimate our positive impact and overestimate how others judge us. And like, great, well, there's the recipe right there. Like, boom, it's right there in front of you, why you're hiding things. So let's talk about how you can move past that. The first thing, like, you want to do, like, there's a couple different areas that we could focus on as it pertains to this, all right? There's going to be a 20-minute light audit. There's going to be identifying what your tells are. And there's going to be where you're adding up how much it's costing you. And so for the light audit, 20 minutes, like, do a 20-minute light audit where you grab a note on your phone, a pad of paper, whatever, you list 5 specific, maybe 5 to 10 specific moments in the last 6 months when you went small. You went smaller than you are. And for each one, like, what was the moment? Like, it was a Tuesday strategy meeting. Had the fix, I stayed quiet. I was afraid to look arrogant. So I didn't want to make so-and-so feel uncomfortable. So I thought I'd get shot down. So there's the moment, there's the spark, like, what made that? There's the anchor, which is like, whose opinion was I managing? My boss, my spouse, the one peer in social media, like, and then think about the cost. What opportunity lost or missed impact or a self-respect ding, distance created, whatever. So what was the moment? What was the spark that caused it? What anchored it for you? Like, who? And then, of course, like, what was the cost? And then that's where you can start to lean into, like, well, let me find what my tells are. And I scan a list of, like, scan this list of these places where those come up, and I look for patterns of, like, maybe there's places you shrink more around executives, family gatherings, on camera, maybe people who trip you up more, authority figures or peers, someone who reminds you of a critic or whatever. Gifts that you hide, like, is it your strategy, your creativity, your empathy, your leadership, whatever? What fears are on repeat? Rejection, being too much, losing connection, being found out, whatever. And then this is where we start to add it up. We add the bill up. What is it costing you? And you write it out as a sentence. Playing small cost me, and you name the missed chances, the energy leaks, the relationships that could have been built that have been watered down because of this. Pro tip, like, if you're stuck, ask a trusted person, like, where do you see me dim my light? And their answer will be gold for you. Once you see the exact moments that you shrink, you stop calling it, like, being nice and start calling it for what it is. Like, you're withholding value from people. Patterns will lose, like, the power when the more specific you are. The clarity sets you up, and put things to move forward. Like, things start to follow at that point. You reclaim energy, you start using your gifts more authentically and freely, and you show up out without any sort of an apology, and you're able to start making the impact you need, which then helps us build on these other 3 principles that we're going to be talking about. And so that takes us into the second area that I want to focus on, which is, like, why your gifts aren't accidents. They are assignments. They're given to you for a reason. So this principle is like, hey, it's not showing off, it's showing up. Most people don't stay small because they doubt their talent, right? Like, they stay small because, like, they've been told that shining, getting yourself out there, sometimes in many cases, like, that it looks selfish. You probably heard things like, you don't want to brag, don't be humble about, like, the things that you have, like, don't make people feel uncomfortable, which, as we have our gifts, our superpowers are showing up a certain way. It's like, yeah, well, I can do this. You can't do that? Like, well, yeah, that does come off weird. But you've done it so much that now opportunities show up and you're second guessing yourself because you don't want to come off as the arrogant person, even though you've got those gifts that you could use to make an impact in somebody else's life. And so the shift that changes everything is, like, your gifts, once again, they're not about you. These gifts, these superpowers you have, like, they were never meant to be trophies to show off. They are tools, they are assignments. Like, they were entrusted to you to do something with it, to serve the people, like, around you, not just let them sit in storage, or not to use them for your own personal gain. If you think about it this way, like, when you start seeing yourself as the steward instead of the star, The ego conversation disappears. You're not trying to show off. You're showing up for the people who actually need it the most. So there's a couple things we could do that help with this. The first thing is going to be we identify what are your gift assignments. The second thing is we get honest about what happens when you hide. And then of course we want to flip the ego narrative, and then how you can be someone else's permission slip is a part of that. So if we focus on that, the first thing was identify your gift assignments, where you grab your notebook, you open up your phone, whatever, and you list 5 things that come naturally to you, the things that light you up, that help make others breathe easier, the thing that people compliment you for, they come to you for, that sort of thing. And then connect it, if you're my gift of whatever it is, my gift of creativity helps this type of person or this group of people solve this sort of a problem. It helps the people that I work with, the clients that I work with, to come up with better solutions in what they're doing. That's it. That's your assignment. You're just for each of these 5 things that come easy to you, you're my gift of blank helps these types of people, whoever they are, name them, be very specific, with these types of problems or this type of a problem. That's it. And be real. We want this to be real people with real needs. And the second thing we talked about, which is get honest about what happens when you hide. Every time that you stay silent, you deflect whatever it is. You hold back, you hold back, ask, well, who's actually missing out because I didn't show up? When you actually take the time to reflect on it, sometimes it can sting. Maybe your team makes a poor call because you didn't speak up. Maybe your friend stays stuck because you didn't share those words of encouragement, or your kid learns that showing up in certain ways is showing off to people. Whatever is right off the line for each gift. When I hide this, they lose that. Whatever is when I hide this gift, these people that I could impact from the previous thing, here's what they lose out on, and it'll hit hard. And that's the point. And then we want to flip the ego narrative. Before you pull back, check in. Am I hiding this to avoid judgment, or am I actually withholding help? Ego says, what will they think of me? Service says, who could this help right now? Who could, even in the smallest of ways? And you're amazed at how quickly fear fades when you make the switch off ego and focus it towards service. And then, of course, being someone else's permission slip, because when you show up fully, with your courage, your authenticity, you give other people the green light to do that as well. Your kids see it, it builds confidence, and their gifts and superpowers. Your coworkers see it, maybe they stop performing from that smallness. Your friends see it, they start dreaming again. Your light gives other people permission to turn their light on, to find their own spark. That's why I would say, you can get yourself a copy of the book, but maybe you need to get someone for someone else. Because sometimes you just need to help someone else light that spark that's in them. And so that belief that shining is some sort of you showing up as who you are is selfish or whatever, it's a lie that keeps capable people stuck. Hiding gifts doesn't make you humble or anything, it just makes you unavailable. And those were the very gifts that you were given for a reason. They're not random, they are an assignment. So the real question is don't think what will they think of me? It's man, who needs what I have? And that answer, it leads you right back to how you can show up and show up authentically. Once again, not to prove anything, not to gain anything, not to perform, but because you're just going to serve. You're going to put out there in the universe that, hey, I'm delivering value without expecting anything in return. It's for the people who are waiting for it. They're waiting for you to step out. I promise you, I can't stress that enough, that there are people waiting for you to realize this. And that takes us into the third area, where you start collecting the receipts that your light actually works. So this is the principle I call proof over fear. Because the thing is, most people don't stay small because they lack the courage. They stay small because they've built the story in their head that what happened, when if things don't go as planned. People might pull away if I do this. They might think that I'm full of myself. They might think I might make someone uncomfortable because I show up in this. Whatever those thoughts are. You probably have your own combination of those, and that sound familiar to you. Once again, those aren't facts; they're guesses. You've been repeating for years without actually checking to see if any of that is true. So this evidence file, this proof over fear, it flips that. It's where you start keeping the receipts that are actually proof. When you've shown up, life gets better, not worse for people. It's basically retraining your brain with the facts instead of the fear. So what I want you to do is first, start your evidence file today, where you open a note on your phone, you put proof that showing up works. That's what you're going to title it. And every day, jot down one piece of evidence, just one, that's all it has to be. Someone thanked you for something that you almost downplayed. You spoke up in the meeting and it shifted the conversation. You posted something honest online and got a message man, I needed that. Once again, these aren't brag moments, they're just data points, that my light is helping people. My spark is getting out there and making an impact. And then you track both sides, like split up the note and be like, man, when I showed up fully versus when I played down, when I played small. On the one side, like, write how you felt, what happened, like when you were feeling bold. And on the other, like, it lists the times where you hid, that you felt lost, that you felt, how you felt after that happened. You're going to start to see the truth that, like, the cost of hiding is actually higher than the risk of shining. And then you can go review the big moments, right? Before the presentation, the tough talk, any situation that makes you feel like you want to shrink, scroll through that file. And you're going to notice what happens when you actually show up. Like, fear's voice gets quieter, and you've got all these receipts that say otherwise to you. And then challenge the biggest lies. Don't, like, just start by taking, like, your top 3 fear statements. Like, man, if I do this, I'll be disconnected with people. People realize maybe I don't have it all together. Whatever. And then, like, line them up with real examples. When I stopped performing and got honest with my friend, like, we actually grew closer to each other. When I owned my idea at work, people respected me more. Once again, these are the kind of evidence that rewrites the story at really a cellular level in how you show up day to day. Your fear runs on imagination. Confidence runs on evidence based off the things that you've done. When you stop letting yourself, like, those untested fears run the show, you start collecting proof of your authenticity works, everything changes. You walk into rooms with that data and your brain can't argue with you. Like, it's like, hey, last time I showed up and it went great. It went better than I expected. So now I'm going to show up again. That's how you rebuild trust in yourself. That's how you make, like, shining feel safe. Once your brain knows that being real creates connection, not rejection, like, playing small just won't make sense anymore. And that takes us to the fourth area that I want to focus on, which is, like, how to get comfortable being seen one step at a time. How do you build your boldness in? How do you build back to boldness if you've been there before? Like, just knowing that you have gifts isn't enough to make you shine. Like, you can believe all the things, repeat affirmations that you've heard, and still freeze when it's time to actually show up. And once again, that's not a weakness. It's because of the wiring that we've been in. Years of hiding, your nervous system has learned that visibility equals risk, and it's going to go into that fight or flight mode. It's going to go into that survivor mode. So instead of trying to, like, flip on a switch overnight and think you can be confident, like, think of it like a muscle that we have to build up. You build it through reps, little consistent moments that you just practice being seen, letting yourself come out into the world with your gifts and your superpowers, showing that shine, that light, that spark, and it'll start to feel more normal to you. So that's this building your boldness back idea. It's not about forcing bravery. It's just about retaining your brain, like retraining your brain to just realize, like, hey, like, being seen doesn't hurt. There's no problem here. It actually helps. We're going to feel good. Get out of that survival mode. So here's what I want you to do. There's a couple of levels that you're going to go through as you do this, like, to build your way back. So we'll start with the easiest one, which is, like, the level 1, which is you want to create some safe spaces. You start, once again, easy, like places where the stakes are low and the people are really kind. And you pick one gift that maybe you've been keeping quiet, and you just practice using it in the day. Maybe it's you're the encourager, and you're going to send that one message out, like that one real message out during the day to someone specific, not just like a good job, but like, something deeper. You're a problem solver maybe, and like you're going to speak your ideas out loud instead of keeping them inside your head. If you're the creative one, you're going to share something that made you, something that you made without any sort of disclaimer, like, oh, well, I'm not that good at this. Like, no, I just felt like creating this. If you're a leader, make a decision confidently without asking everyone first or diving into the spiral of trying to, find all the data facts before you do something. Once again, keep notes of how you feel. Most people discover that showing up fully isn't nearly as scary as they thought. It actually feels really good. And so you just take these little micro chunks in the day you already have. Set that intentionality at the beginning of the day. It's amazing when you're like, okay, here's the thing I'm going to show up today. Here's the space in my day where I could show up in that moment in that way. And that prepares you to move into level 2, which is where we now get into, like, the medium stakes kind of range. You got to raise the bar a little bit, and you move into situations that matter a little more. Maybe it's a work meeting, a family conversation, some sort of a public sphere or space where, like, you would usually play it safe. At work, you're going to speak up without apologizing first, or at home, you share your wins instead of, brushing them off, or finally saying things like, you're going to say things that you've been holding back, to keep the peace. If you're online, post something that reflects your real perspective instead of, like, watering it down to make it align to what people want to hear. Afterward, jot down, once again, what you feared would happen versus what actually happened. And the spoiler is your fears will almost never be right. And that prepares you to move into level 3, which is when you bring it to the big moments. Because once you've gone through these, like, the level 1s, the level 2s, Now you're ready for the higher stakes stuff. The places where hiding has cost, maybe hiding has cost you the most. The presentation you've been dreading, or bringing your idea, with conviction, the hard talk with your spouse or your kids, showing up real and unfiltered, the opportunity that scared you to step into fully because the world needs you in full color, not grayscale. Before you go into these moments, look back at your notes. What you've already built proof of being yourself and that it's safe. Then walk in grounded, not guessing. And afterwards, take a few minutes and debrief, maybe 5 minutes and debrief yourself. Man, what did I fear? What actually happened? Who benefited because I showed up? Every answer is going to be fuel for your next round of courage. Every rep that you do here is going to wire your brain. And each time you choose to show up, your brain is learning that visibility, there's no danger. It's what you're here for. It's the purpose that you're meant to do. You're going to start building more confidence that isn't fake or forced. It's earned because of the proof that you've done. And by the end of, a few weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, a couple months maybe, you start to notice these things. You won't have to try to be confident anymore. You'll just be confident. You'll walk into rooms knowing man, I've done this before. My light is going to help people. I know I can help someone in this room. And that's not an ego. It's that stewardship. It's that ownership. It's owning the assignment that you were given and delivering unapologetically of your gifts and superpowers, because there are people waiting for you to wake up to these facts and start giving of your gifts and superpowers, even with the road bumps you've had along the way. At this point, I want you to just declare it, be out loud with it. Hey, I don't apologize for who I am or for my gifts. I'm going to show up fully because of someone out there needs what I have, because you've practiced it, you've proven it. It's who you are now. And when you live that way, you stop waiting for permission to shine. You finally remember, man, it's been yours the whole time. You just need to step into it. And so if we wrap this all up, we start to bring this all home, what we've covered today, hiding these gifts, they're not any sort of it's not, man, it's burning you out. That withholding, every time that you dim your own light, someone's missing out on the value that you could have given them. Your gifts are not accidents. These gifts and superpowers, they're assignments that are meant for you and only you. And they were forged through your experiences, the good, the bad, all the things in between. You've been given these things for a purpose. There is a purpose. It was given to you on purpose for a purpose you can go do. Once again, this isn't just about feeling more confident or overcoming imposter syndrome. It's diving deeper than that. It's about realizing that there are people out there in the world, your kids, your spouse, your team, your friends, all sorts of people that are waiting for you to finally wake the hell up. Just wake up finally. Don't water yourself down. Don't be polite. Don't rock the boat version. I don't care. Be the real you, the alive you, the lit up version of you. The more authentic, the better, because when you stay small, you lose access to what only you can give to other people. And so your next move, don't overthink any of this. Just start small. Maybe do that audit. Maybe start building your evidence file. Look at your gifts like they're assignments. Maybe practice showing up a little bit bigger in a safe space. Whatever. Whatever you choose, just start somewhere. Start today. Do something. Because the transformation that you've been waiting for doesn't come from becoming someone new. It comes from stopping the stinking apology tour you've been on for who you already are. You ease, the ease that you have, in being able to do things, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not anyone can do it. It's special to you. That's evidence that you've been built for things like that. And you've got these relationships. Man, if you've been trying to protect a relationship because of something you have, man, you're actually shrinking it. They can't thrive when they're built on smaller versions of you. So we want to unpack this. Please take action today. Now, if you want to dive deeper into all these concepts, that's what we talked about at the beginning of the video. It's all grounded in concepts here from the Giver Method. Get yourself a copy. It's on sale right now on Amazon. There's a link in the description, or you can pause the video, go look up Giver Method, by Jake Talbert. You can also check out thegivermethod.com. You can follow us on social media, all that type of stuff. But the biggest thing about the Giver Method is that it is built on this truth that your gifts are designed to serve others and to show up fully as yourself authentically. There's no ego there. That is generosity. If you want help walking through this sort of a thing, look at the one-on-one coaching link we have down below. If you're on a podcast, have a team, stage an event that maybe you'd love to see this type of message come to them, then let's talk about what that could look like. And before you go, like the video, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, all that type of stuff. Drop a comment, what landed for you the most. And of course, I just want you to remember as we wrap this up, the exhaustion that you feel isn't from doing too much, it's from being too little of yourself, that misalignment, fatigue. You're burning energy, holding things back, hiding your brilliance, trying to fit into spaces that are never built to contain you. Man, The cure isn't rest, it's alignment. It's full expression of who you are, because showing up isn't it's not ego, it's the stewardship. Your light isn't just for you, it's for the people waiting to be illuminated by it. And fear of being too much will start to fade so fast as it parts this. Relationships that can finally deepen because you stop performing smallness and you actually focus on it from a place of impact. So please stop dimming your light. The world doesn't need perfection, it just needs your presence, you, the real version of you. Your people, they don't need a smaller version of you to make them comfortable. They need the brighter version of you, so they have permission to do the same. The gifts you have, there are assignments waiting to be delivered, and every day that you spend apologizing for your brilliance is another day people are missing out on the light that only you can bring. So go shine. Do it without guilt, without fear, without apology. Use your gifts and superpowers every single day, because that light that will come from that isn't just meant to be seen, it is meant to be shared. Hopefully there's a lot you could take away from this. Hopefully you can share it with someone else. You can check out the other videos on the channel. And of course, hopefully we will catch you in one of our upcoming videos. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you real soon.